The Dallas Roughnecks have been the talk of the AUDL, flying high to a perfect 3-0 start and heading into their first major road trip. The Raleigh Flyers, they're still the defending champs in the South Division, and they are hyped for a Saturday showdown.
The goal is the championship. That's always the goal.
They don't like that we are getting all the recognition and that people are talking about us, and they want to beat us and put us in our place.
We have all the pieces that we need. It's just getting them in the right position that lines up to get a championship.
Raleigh's a great team. They have a rich history of showing up in big games.
As soon as it's 12 minutes on the clock, we're 7 on the line, I'm ready to go.
Looking for Allen, what a catch. It's an overcast but very pleasant Saturday night here in the state capital of North Carolina, and we are set for what should be a thrilling showdown between the Dallas Roughnecks and the Raleigh Flyers. Both teams trying to finish the night undefeated heading into the month of May. Hi again, everybody. Delighted to have you with us. Evan Leffler with Taylor Pope. He's played at every club national since 2003, and this is the matchup that you get most excited about. Two teams both trying to stay undefeated, and from the Raleigh perspective, they're the undefeated underdogs. What kind of mentality does that make them have?
I think that gives them a little bit of looseness to their attitude pregame. You know, I was down on the sideline talking to these guys. They're all joking around as normal. I think they're coming into the game with a little bit of fire in their belly, but energy is definitely pointed in the right direction.
Well, the Dallas Roughnecks have won their first 3 games by a grand total of 38 goals. They've been dominant, and they have stars up and down the roster. What has been your primary impression of the Roughnecks?
Well, when you put together a team with 5 Team USA players to start the roster, it's going to be tough for most teams to match up, and I think that the teams that they've faced so far maybe aren't as on level with the talent that the Raleigh Flyers have, but nonetheless, there's a ton of experience on the Roughnecks team, and I think they're really driving the show.
On a night like this, it's impossible to pick just one game changer, but we had to do it, so we're going to tell you about Bo Kittredge, a guy you know a lot about. He's been a legend in the sport, number 50, and he's still got the tools, but it's how he's put together and become a leader of this team that I think stands out.
Yeah, one of the premier athletes in all of Ultimate for the last decade, Bo Kittredge, you know, not only leads by his play, but he really leads with his attitude and spirit of the game. You know, you really can't say enough about the guy. He plays to his game better than any other player in the game.
Being chased by paparazzi all season long. We had our cameraman Ian Lunger tracking him down in that last shot. He's one of many stars for the Dallas Roughnecks. For the Raleigh Flyers, if they're going to win this game, you think Noah Saul is going to be really important because he's the leader of the D-line that's going to get them breaks.
I do. If the Raleigh Flyers are going to be in this game, it's going to be because of their D-line, able to generate pressure. I know Noah Saul is going to be matching up a lot on Jimmy Mickle, trying to force him out. It'll be whether or not Jimmy Mickle recognizes and sort of stretches the field if, you know, Noah Saul is going to really have a lot of influence over him.
He's been a dynamic defender and distributor so far this season. By the end of the night, only one of these two teams will still be perfect in 2016. The opening pull between the Flyers and the Roughnecks coming up next.
Imagine you're in a new town for a couple of days, and you find yourself wanting a bike. Use Spin Lister to rent any kind of bike in your area in over 55 countries. Have an unforgettable adventure while saving up to 40% on rentals. And whatever you do, don't forget to enjoy your ride.
Well, there you see Jimmy Mickle leading the Dallas Roughnecks onto the field. They will receive to start this Week 5 matchup. And Beaufort Kittredge, the Fairbanks, Alaska native who's been through Colorado and the Bay Area, now a proud Texan, the Raleigh Flyers. This is probably the biggest game that they've ever had here in Raleigh in the AUDL, and you can speak to that. You played in a bunch of them last year.
Yeah, I think the excitement for this game is really at a 10. I think both teams are really ready to show what they've brought this season, and I'm excited to see it.
Ryan Sittler is going to launch the opening pull for the Flyers, a first-year Flyer who was awarded the team MVP honor after their opening night win here at Cardinal Gibbons High School against the Charlotte Express. Raleigh's 4-0, but the 4 wins have come by just 13 goals. Dallas 3-0, those 3 wins by a grand total of 38. Only one will be perfect when the night is over, and here we go.
It'll be interesting to see if the Flyers come down with a little bit of junk look to really see. Yeah, it looks like they're definitely poaching a little bit deep here. Joey Cretella in the backfield.
Jake Coleman is on Bo Kittredge downfield. Kurt Gibson center handling for the Roughnecks. Kurt still here despite the tough night on the Amazing Grace last night. Here's Kittredge's first touch, throws it up, a lofty shot to the end zone, and it's hauled in. Clutch catch from Matt Costello, one of the captains of the Roughnecks. They talk about making highlights. I guess that was a highlight type throw because it wasn't all that crisp.
Well, I think Raleigh got what they wanted there. When that disc went up, I think every Flyer thought that they had a D, but kudos to the Roughnecks for bringing it down.
Costello picks up his 4th goal of the season. And for Bo Kittredge, that is assist number 8. You have been playing against Bo for such a long time, and you've seen him mature as an Ultimate player. How has he changed in the last decade?
You know, a lot of Ultimate players, when they're young, they tend to rely on their athleticism. Well, Bo has just been athletic for the last 10 years, and like I said, he really uses his game effectively. He doesn't turn the disc over. He really throws the throws that he has in his wheelhouse and doesn't really venture too far out of that, relying on his receiving ability and then resetting the disc and getting it again. He's amazing.
Dylan Freechild is chasing Justin Allen, although he just switched off him downfield. Brian Casey spent most of the day coaching UNC Wilmington's college team. And here's the first deep shot. Nethercutt looking for Dieter, and Kittredge deflects it away.
And you see the athleticism there. Bo Kittredge, Ben Dieter was about 10 to 15 yards deeper than Bo when Nethercutt let that go and closed amazingly fast. He likes to bait those throws. He likes to get those Ds when you think the man is open.
Matt Jackson picking up the disc. Here's Freechild. Won the Callahan in 2013. One of 3 Callahan Award winners in this game, along with Jimmy Mickle in 2014, and of course Jonathan Nethercutt, who won it with North Carolina last year.
Roughnecks look like they have about 4 handlers in the backfield.
Freechild looking long. It's a perfect shot. And the Dallas Roughnecks register the early break. Dan Emmons in the end zone.
Beautiful backhand by Freechild. Saw the space and just put it out in front of his man. Great throw, great reception.
We've played 100 seconds, Taylor, and for the Raleigh Flyers, this is their largest deficit of the season.
You know, I think that when there's a lot of energy for a game like this, it's easy to kind of get out there and have a little bit of those jitters, but I think that in the next couple points, hopefully we'll see them sort of settle in and really play their game. I know they're not looking to beat the Roughnecks by taking shots. They want to grind the Roughnecks down and use their not only number size, because they're starting 20 players, and I think the Roughnecks are starting about 16 or 17. 3-man advantage doesn't seem like much, but in a 4-quarter game, it makes a big difference.
So very important for the Flyers to keep it close. And obviously this point right here is critical for the O-line that just got broken. Jarrett Bowen underneath.
Good holster.
And Allen barely kept that disc alive. The veteran handler David Snoke, a laser beam off the hands of the intended target.
Tommy Lamar just looked like he got his feet slipped on the turf, it looked like. Unfortunate. We saw Tommy Lamar in the game of the week against Charlotte immediately get the turn back. Let's see if he can generate a D here.
And the Roughnecks register another early break. Matt Bennett dished it off to Kurt Gibson. Breaks the mark to Steven Darrow.
Roughnecks seem to be using their spacing here, definitely working the spread, but you see them just swinging it side to side. Great for any offense, but really they're getting into their formation fast and seem pretty patient with the Frisbee.
Fantastic patience from Dallas right now. And Mickle was bumped on the mark. Not sure if it was Dieter or Saul that got him.
Looked like Saul just kind of came through and clipped him as he was throwing.
And Gibson wasn't in the end zone. And throws it away.
So you see two different offensive styles here. Dallas running primarily spread. Raleigh Flyers running a stack. All the cutters are in the middle of the field. There's Tommy Lamar.
Hauls in the 50-yard shot from Snoke and tack on another 10 as Ted Barnett drilled him from behind. Dieter, he landed in, and the Flyers are on the board.
And there's Tommy Lamar making a positive impact, not letting that little slip get him down. Great catch, great throw.
So Ben Dieter scores the Flyers' first goal. And you think about the Roughnecks working it all the way down the field there after the D, but it was Gibson that threw it away on the goal line. And finally the Flyers capitalizing with Allen making that nice grab earlier in the point.
Yeah, if you ask the Atlanta Hustle guys about that, they like to call that body blows, where one team works it all the way down to the goal line only to turn it over. And if you can score that, it is so impactful for the attitude for your team. I've always loved that slogan by them.
So here's the second offensive point for the Roughnecks. Gibson will be the center handler. Brandon Malachek joins him in the handler corps. There's Costello. Mistakenly attributed the first goal to him. It was Ben Laurie who caught the Kittredge toss to the end zone in the game's first point. There's Costello being chased by Joey Cretella.
And chased is a good way of talking about the defense right now. They're not really anticipating the cuts, and you see pretty much all the cutters trailing the offensive, the defenders trailing the offensive cutters. Dallas really able to do whatever they want right now.
Kittredge marked by Richardson to Malachek. This Dallas team has made a habit of jumping on their opponents early. Had an 8-2 lead over Jacksonville at the end of the first quarter last weekend.
You need to see the Flyers fronting here. They're in their red zone.
So you think that was too easy?
Yeah, they're playing behind. I'd like to see them, getting in the lane and forcing the Roughnecks to throw it to the back of the end zone. Allowing them to score in the front of the end zone is not what Mike DeNardis has for his game plan.
So Gibson hits slack for the score. 7:23 to go in the opening quarter. Thomas Slack, an interesting story. Did not make the initial Dallas roster this year, but they kept him aboard as a practice player, a Texas A&M product. And after week one, they realized they might need another speedster on offense. He had been playing really well in practice, living up to the hype as a practice player, just the kind of guy you want on your team. So they brought him a jersey at his place of business, and he's had a smile like that on his face basically ever since.
That's what makes the AUDL great. You got guys playing for the right reasons. I love to hear stories like that.
Made his debut in the Roughnecks' second game of the season, their win over the Austin Soul. Beat the Soul twice, by 12 and by 11, and then clobbered the Cannons by 15 last weekend.
Now this O-point is really important for the Flyers. They need to settle in.
I feel like we'll be saying that a lot though, which speaks to the amount of pressure that Dallas is providing point by point.
You're just not going to get a lot of turns if you're the Raleigh Flyers D-line, and they definitely think of themselves as a quantity type of D-line, trying to get lots and lots of turns.
Oh, beautiful shot there. Allen snuck it around the Kittredge mark.
Great throw by Justin Allen there.
Mark Lynn in the end zone for the score. Justin Allen is the type of guy, for better or worse, he's not going to be intimidated by anyone he's going up against.
No, he plays with a swagger like no other. I think that, of all the guys that have a lot of energy riding into this game, he's definitely at the top of the list.
And after this goal, Bo Kittredge immediately looked at number 17, Jake Anderson, and said, hey, that's my bad. You were on the right side of your man. I got broken by Raleigh's number 1. Justin Allen had 60 assists last year. So far this season, 15 assists to go with 16 goals.
He certainly has a nose for the end zone.
Alachek receives the pull, quickly hits Gibson, marked by Saul.
And I think one of the keys to the game for Raleigh,
Gibson airs this one out. He's seeking Freechild.
That should be a D.
Oh, perhaps a bump. Freechild got away with it, but Richardson knocked it away only to have Slack make the catch in the second effort. You gotta be kidding me.
You know what I like there, though? I like that the Raleigh Flyers had 2 other guys in on the play. Looks like Jake Coleman or David Richardson left their man and went to help out. That bodes well for the Raleigh Flyers D-line today.
You think Freechild got away with one there?
I don't think so. I think he established position. You like to see the guy going for the disc all the time, but I'm of the opinion if you get there first and you are allowed the space that you have, yeah, that maybe it looks like he dropped the booty into him a little bit.
So Freechild gets the assist.
And there's Slack again.
Second goal.
Picking up the garbage.
Opening 5.5 minutes for Slack. 2 assists for Dylan.
Signs of progress, though, for the Raleigh D-line. I think that they want those looks. They want the Roughnecks to send it deep towards their athletes. I think that that's one of the things that the Flyers are really confident in, and guys like Hunter Taylor and David Richardson just being able to match up with the stud receivers for the Roughnecks.
Matt Bennett with a poach into the open side lane, forced the dish to the handler, Casey. Here's Allen underneath to Mitchell. 19-year-old Durham, North Carolina native. Drew it away.
They got to get it off the line there. They're just sitting on the line. The Roughnecks are closing that D in. We got to see a swing there.
So Gibson with the D.
One thing I was talking about is, I think the Eric mantra, early recognition is critical, is a very important key to the game for the Raleigh Flyers. When they see guys like Bo Kittredge start to move in that deep direction, they need to catch up early. And you're going to see Bo a lot of times with the Frisbee, throw a pass, start to jog, and if you allow any separation, it's over.
Ambitious Scuba that Langdon couldn't haul in, gives it back to the Flyers.
Great break by Dave Snoke.
Mark Lynn, 7 yards from the goal line. Retreats to Nethercutt. Clean shaven Jonathan Nethercutt. He looks about 10 years younger than he did last time we were here.
Raleigh Flyers really love to work it with their handlers in the front of the end zone.
And it's Mitchell in the end zone for the goal to get the Flyers back within 1.
And you see those two guys love to roll together. Justin Allen, Terrence Mitchell, they warm up together, they throw together. It's easy to see why they would have that connection on the field.
As a member of the Flyers last year, you've kind of seen Terrence Mitchell grow up as an 18-year-old playing Pro Ultimate and being a steady contributor in the O-line, now being more of a veteran, even though he's just 19. What have been your impressions of the guy with the crazy hair?
Well, I think I mentioned last time, he's a very soft-spoken individual, but his love for the game has been there since he was just a little teenager. And, the Raleigh-Durham Ultimate community has watched this kid grow up, and there's a certain amount of he's our hometown guy with Terrence Mitchell, and the excitement for him to play on this level is enormous.
It's like how they used to feel about you, but they
I was a transplant.
They care a little bit more about the junior world's phenom.
That's right. No, I moved here in 2003 and just kind of found myself here, went to tryouts, and once I made the team, I decided to stay.
It's been a good home for you.
That's right, that's right. A lot of positive things have happened. Met my lovely wife, Caroline.
Sure. She's the one who laid out that suit for you to wear today,
That's right, that's right. She makes all my fashion decisions for me.
She makes the right choices. Here's Free Child, breaking the mark. Shy of the goal line, Mechanix. Nice toss to space. That's a veteran handler seeing the field right there and connecting with Laurie for the score. Mechanix, another guy that you've gone head-to-head with for a long time.
Yeah, I remember, his days on Boston. He just has an, incredible throwing ability. Always a threat to find the end zone from really anywhere on the field. You wanna shut down his backhand, I think, but his flick is just enormous.
Chatting with Bo Kittredge and Jimmy Mickle, and they both independently brought up Mechanix as a guy who they hadn't played with before, but they've been super impressed with. He kind of has this personality as a firecracker, but they said he's been as committed to the team as anybody, traveling a few hours for every practice. He'll say something when something needs to be said, but for the most part, he keeps his head down and just plays hard and has really bought into the team.
Yeah. It's hard to really buy into those on-field personas. It's really easy to have an opinion about a guy when you play against him, but then when he's your teammate and he's on your squad,
sure,
the opinions tend to change, and all of a sudden he's your guy.
Casey just across midfield finds Dieter. And downfield, a pick was called. Disc might have been in the air. And Nethercutt will give it back to Dieter, who will retreat the 10 yards. Unlike basketball, you cannot set picks downfield in ultimate. And if you do and the referees catch you, it's a 10-yard penalty. And perhaps even more stiff than the yardage, it stops your momentum and flow.
That's right. And you look how packed in Raleigh is right here. Really not using the width of the field. That's a great space throw by Brian Casey.
Nethercutt continues to the end zone, and Allen.
And that was all set up by Brian Casey's space throw. Great flick, across the field, really opened up that throw. It's just a matter of pitch and catch after that.
Nethercutt officially picks up the assist, but you think the hockey assist was the play of the point?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So after the Flyers fell behind 2-0, they found to kind of stabilize themselves here in the first quarter.
And I think I think one of the things that the Raleigh Flyers are looking for is to make these points long, to really have, you don't want to say multi-turnover points, but they want to use their numbers against the Roughnecks, who are really running with quite a lean roster out here.
And Dallas traveled with 18 guys. That includes their head coach, Patrick Eberle, who's active today, but he hasn't played yet this year. Mickle guarded by Saul, and a deep shot. Miscommunication. He was looking for Gibson. He had turned around and come underneath.
And let's see Noah Saul, if he can run the show. Looks like he's out there with Ryan Sittler.
That was the first turnover for the Dallas O-line, so here's Raleigh's first chance to break. Mitchell was out there on the defensive point. And retreats to Saul, and now ahead at Sittler. Ryan Clark. What are you seeing here, Taylor?
Well, I'm just seeing the Roughnecks really almost challenging Raleigh to throw it deep. They're fronting. You look at Bo Kittredge sitting in the back with Terrence Mitchell about 10 yards deep.
And they've been doing a lot of switching downfield, too.
They're pretty much leaving Bo deep here.
Now Kittredge comes to Mark Clark.
They need a swing here. Great hammer.
Taylor hammer to Sittler.
And
look at the space of the field. Josh Hartsock. Flyers have worked it all the way down, and they've worked it in to tie it up 5-all.
And that is the way that the Flyers want to score. They want to grind out those points. working it under, not having to rely on their athleticism to get breaks. I know Mike Denardis is happy about that D point.
The Dallas Roughnecks have just taken a timeout. Just under 2 minutes to play in the opening quarter. And it was Sittler to Taylor for the score.
And the Raleigh fans are out in force tonight. We got a Bowser hammer breaking buckets down on the track for every Raleigh Flyers break. The fans of Raleigh and the community have really embraced the Flyers, and it's great to see that this community rewarded with a pro team. So you've seen the last 2 points. Dallas Roughnecks have taken shots. One time they came up with it on the shot to Dylan Freechild with where we had the bump. The next time they took a shot to Kurt. That is what the Raleigh Flyers want the Roughnecks to do. If they can get them taking ill-advised shots, they really feel like they have a chance to win this game.
See if the Roughnecks look different at all out of the timeout. You know, the Flyers practiced on Thursday night, as they do most weeks. They scrimmaged against University of North Carolina, built up UNC Darkside for their regionals weekend. They'll play for an Atlantic Coast championship tomorrow up in Virginia. But I think the Flyers, more than anything, were working on some junk zone sets to try to befuddle the Dallas Roughnecks that may not have that long-term chemistry and cohesiveness. You think we'll see something like that here?
I think we've already seen a little bit, and I definitely expect them to be doing some more, especially, you know, kind of what we call waves, where you have a few guys running down and you keep a cap trying to stop them from taking an early deep shot. And it looks like we have Tim McAllister just playing behind the play, almost daring them, go ahead, throw it deep, I'm back here.
Dallas has worked it underneath, about 2/3 of the length of the field.
Raleigh
Rory to Mickle.
Raleigh Flyers forcing backhand here. Can't allow that around throw.
And a pick downfield. The offense a little discombobulated, so 10 yards back. Kittredge will possess the disc.
Raleigh Flyers once again really looking to get it pinned on that backhand side. Bo Kittredge with the scoober.
I'm not sure I've ever seen that before, and perhaps Jimmy Mickle was as surprised as we were because a rare drop from Jimmy, but maybe it was because of a foul. It was.
I don't like that call per se, but maybe I didn't have a real good look at it from the booth.
Cretella fouling Mickle.
We do have a crack referee crew down there. Mike Garrix, 3-time national champion.
Sure, accomplished playing history out there with Jason Weddle, head referee Daniel Wong, who you see there, and Joshua Irons. Not sure if they called something unsportsmanlike on Cretella. Regardless, it's a goal for the Roughnecks.
I think he was inside the red zone, so that's an automatic bring to the center.
Sure. But I also saw Daniel Wong sort of write something down there. Alas, Dallas holds and leads again 6-5. We're back on serve, though, in the opening quarter.
This is right where the Flyers want to be, on serve, with their offense out there.
There's the play. I think it was a couple referees who saw it. Cretella and Mickle kind of made eye contact and I think said, yeah, it was a foul.
That goal, I know, was an around flick. Flyers forcing backhand.
A balanced first quarter for Kurt Gibson on the stat sheet. Final minute of the opening quarter. Big backhand from Allen.
That's a beautiful throw. Oh.
Wow. Jarrett Bowen. You don't see that every day.
Not at all. I think he may have just thought, wow, this is the greatest throw.
It was a gorgeous shot from Allen. Now 30 seconds for the Roughnecks.
I'm looking for Jarrett to get it back here.
We'll see. Raleigh will get the disc to start quarter number 2. So a hold here would be pivotal. Here's Matt Bennett. Contact there, the clock stops. Officially 8.8 on the stadium clock. The Roughnecks looking to beat the buzzer. That's
Dave
up
Snook.
high, tipped away by Lamar.
He needs to put it.
And nobody was hustling deep. The Flyers don't score on their final point, but they do prevent Dallas from taking a 2-goal lead at the end of one.
I know Jared Bowen wants that one back. Unfortunate drop in the end zone, which would have been the game-tying score. Great throw by Justin Allen. Beautiful backhand out to space, right in front of his receiver.
Well, the Flyers missed an opportunity, but after falling behind 2-0, they did impress with how they matched up with Dallas through the rest of the quarter. 1 down and 3 to go here on our AUDL Saturday Showcase. After 1, it's the Roughnecks 6 and the Flyers 5.
Imagine you're in a new town for a couple of days and you find yourself wanting a bike. Use Spin Lister to rent any kind of bike in your area in over 55 countries. Have an unforgettable adventure while saving up to 40% on rentals. And whatever you do, don't forget to enjoy your ride. Rent a bike today or list your own to start making money and connecting with awesome people.
Well, Taylor Pope has been in an end-of-quarter Raleigh Flyers huddle before. And what do you think Mike DeNardis is stressing right now? Down by 1, but really they played the Roughnecks point for point.
Yeah, I really think he's imparting on those guys like, hey, look, we're matching up on them. Just keep playing our game, keep doing what we've been doing, and it's gonna lead to some conversions. I think that, you know, they feel like a couple points may have slipped out of their hands. You have the David Richardson D, even the floaty pass that Kittredge put up on the first point. I think they thought they had a chance at, and of course the Jarrett Bowen drop. Those 3 plays could have easily impacted this game and had Raleigh Flyers leading in the first quarter.
Raleigh and Dallas, one of a dozen AUDL games on the Week 5 schedule this weekend. Earlier today, you saw the battle for first place in the East with Toronto and DC matching up again, and it was another thriller. Of course, last Saturday night in DC, the Toronto Rush won it 25-24 in double overtime. Today at home, the Rush won it 24-23 in regulation. Unbelievable. So Toronto is still perfect against US-based teams in the regular season. They're in their 4th year of play, Taylor.
They're an impressive team, and I've played against a lot of those guys for years. Great history of Ultimate for greater area of Toronto, otherwise known as GOAT.
Free Child called for a foul there on Allen. Raleigh keeping the disc. It was a fun matchup to watch. They're really getting after it.
It'll be interesting to see if we have anything going on Twitter after the game.
Nethercutt shoots it. Snoke.
Beautiful
6-all.
space throw. Finding Snoke in the back of the end zone. Degree of difficulty on that throw, a 10.
Why was that throw so hard?
Well, he's got to meet his man in the back of the end zone with the defender closing in. You could see Dave Snoke kind of not attacking it because he wanted to make sure it was going to come down, or maybe it was going to stay up and he had to judge his timing. He found it just eye level right in the back corner with a yard to go.
I guess if Nethercutt was a gymnast, his routine would be the highest degree of difficulty, right?
That's right.
I talked to Nethercutt before the game, and what happened to the beard? He said he shaved it yesterday. He says he's a role player, Nethercutt, now. He's no longer leading the team without the grizzly look.
I'll tell you what, he'll have that thing back by tomorrow morning.
I don't doubt it. So the Flyers pulling, looking for the lead. They have not led yet today, and in fact, the Dallas Roughnecks have not trailed yet in franchise history.
And again, you're seeing the Raleigh Flyers come down in a junk look, their waves look. 3 guys sprinting down, and then a second wave of guys in essentially a wall, making sure that the first few passes are underneath.
Mechanix sends it toward Kittredge, but Richardson is there. When Bo's going deep, there's a temptation to put it, but it was not open that time. Now we've seen the Raleigh D-line capitalize once when Sittler hit Taylor to tie it at 5, but a miscue there.
D-Rich playing lockdown D on Kittredge, just let him open there, but really stopping him from going deep and preventing him from really getting any separation toward the end zone.
Mickle for Malachek. Dallas back up 1.
And I think the last 2 Dallas Roughneck goals have been breaks around that flick side. I know the Flyers are looking to stress a backhand force. When you allow that around throw, there's a lot of space.
You've been pretty impressed with Dallas's ability to use the full 53 1/3 yard width of the field so far?
I think that's a key for any team to be able to swing the disc effectively, get it off the line, with the line and the double team being such an advantage. I like it whenever I see a team swinging it, and Dallas seems to have really good spacing offensively.
See Matt Bennett getting ready to pull. The Houston native, obviously a star in college at Texas A&M. His fellow Splash brother Dalton Smith playing with the Texas A&M college team this weekend, his final year of eligibility.
Flyers coming down with a side stack, looking to create space toward the flick side of the field.
A lot of loft on that shot. Mitchell nearby. There was contact. Steven Darrow whistled for the interference.
I'm sure Dave Snoke is happy about that call. I know that didn't come out the way he wanted to.
Mitchell able to dump it back. Nethercutt scoobers at crossfield. Mitchell bidding Darrow on the mark and then sneaking it through. Bowen hauls on.
And you like to see Jared Bowen making that tough catch in traffic, getting right back on that horse.
Want to ask you a question about the referees related to that call. It looked like there was a little contact for sure. We'll see it here. As a defensive player, I bet you want to play like that. Personally, I don't think it's a bad thing that they're calling it tight and setting that standard early in the game. What do you think?
Well, I think the determining factor there was you see the defender have his hand on his back, and whenever you see that, it's easy to have even just a little bit of push off. They're going to call that every time. You really got to get your hands out of the way and make it look like you're going up into your own space on that D play.
There was a pretty good chance of rain a few days ago for this Saturday night, but so far we are dry, and it is a very wonderful evening for Ultimate. Not much wind, comfortable temperature.
Let's see Brian Clark make up some speed here.
Slack going for it, and he jumped too soon.
And there it is, Jake Coleman again following the play, getting the garbage D there. That's hustle.
Brian Clark's got some wheels.
He does, he does.
The Flyers with the disc, looking to hand Dallas its first deficit of the season.
And I want to see Noah Saul every other on this point.
So far it's been good flow. 5 different guys have touched it. Here's Steven Bender, double teamed and fouled on the mark. For a guy like Steven Bender, you have Jimmy Mickle on your left and Kurt Gibson on your right, 2 guys in the U.S. national team. What's that feeling like?
I think he's ready for it. Steven Bender doesn't tend to think about those things too much.
I bet. Sittler over the shoulder of the defender Gibson to Saul. And Mike DeNardis, you can hear him from the booth screaming for a timeout on the sideline. Clock stops with about 8 1/4 to go here in the second. And the Flyers looking for their first lead of the day on ESPN3. So the Raleigh Flyers have possession. Jonathan Nethercutt and Terrence Mitchell, 2 of the 7 on the field here as Raleigh looks for its first lead. Flyers trail 2-0, 100 seconds in, but have really played steady ever since.
I love that timeout call by Mike DeNardis. Saw his defense starting to get a little stagnant on offense and called a timeout, got some O players out there, get this critical break.
Allen and Dieter downfield. Stays in the backfield with Nethercutt. Joey Cretella out on the field as well for the Flyers. Nethercutt hauls it in.
Nethercutt's looks like Dieter is working that backfield, trying to find a lane.
Mitchell could not keep it alive.
Looks like we have Kittredge with Noah Saul. A little bit of a speed matchup, mismatch there. See if the Roughnecks can exploit it.
Mickle will launch. Dieter and Peterson are there, but it's Stanley Peterson with his first AUDL goal, showing off why the Roughnecks signed him. Incredible acceleration.
Incredible D athlete. His specialty is the underneath go-to block. Just a block machine. It's nice to see him on the offensive side.
Well, it was the defensive side on the turn, and then Raleigh gave it back. And the Mama Bird connection, Mickle to Peterson. That duo was a huge part of a 2014 college national title. And Stanley Peterson signed officially this past week.
Having a connection like that is such an asset to a thrower like Jimmy Mickle. When you have a guy that you've played with for several years, that timing and knowledge that he's going to be in the right place at the right time is invaluable, and you see that on the goal there.
So a missed opportunity for the Flyers for sure. Mark Lynn, Tommy Lamar, Jarrett Bowen all back on the field. Ryan Casey, Jonathan Nethercutt, Dave Snoke as well. Here's Lamar.
Flyers really working the middle of the field here. Looks like they're running kind of a hybrid side stack spread.
Awkward catch, but Allen hung on to Casey. To the end zone, Mark Lynn. Knocked away by the Dallas Roughnecks. Is that Jake Anderson?
I think that was Animal. They call him the Danimal.
You are right, Dan Emmons. The other giant on the Dallas D-line. Free child to Peterson. Ted Barnett.
Flyers are playing a kind of a contained D here, saying, okay, go ahead and swing it across the field. We're not going to let you take that shot deep that you're looking for.
Who would you say is the best defensive player on Raleigh's O-line?
That's tough. That's tough. I think, you got to give it to maybe Justin Allen or Dave Snoke. Justin Allen, he's going to, match up more of a man-to-man style and get that underneath D, Dave Snoke is going to be in the right place at the right time and really get a lot of poach blocks.
Rough throw there for the Roughnecks. Giving it back to Raleigh.
Flyers need a little bit of more movement downfield.
Yep.
Cutter's looking a little bit stagnant.
And downfield, you see Lamar, Lynn, all standing still. That's a tough catch from Nethercutt. Launches cross field, and Matt Jackson says hello, showing off his catch-up speed. For Matt Jackson, that's his 7th D of the season. And the Roughnecks will take a timeout. Their final timeout of the half. We'll stay right here. The Dallas D-line trying to reconnect after forcing a couple turnovers on this point. But Matt Jackson is probably the first guy that the Dallas leadership talks about in terms of, hey, which of the guys that aren't these superstar caliber national team players have surprised you? And they say Matt Jackson. This kid is 100% effort, incredible speed, super springy, and a guy who has really bought into the team as well, coming from Arkansas to play with the Roughnecks.
And if you got to see any of the Jacksonville Cannons game, you're seeing him down on the pull first every time, often very close to getting that first pass layout D. When you have that kind of effort on every point, the cumulative pressure really wears down on those offensive handlers. All of a sudden, that first pass is not the gimme that you want it to be. Every little bit of extra thought, every little bit of pinning him more in the back of the end zone just wreaks havoc on the offense over time.
Pretty basic horizontal stack, 3 handlers.
Looks like they're isolating Jimmy Mickle in the center of the field.
Joey Cretell is on Mickle. Noah Saul is on Slack. Gibson with the disc and to Mickle. Looking for Kittredge. Did he throw it too far? Bo Kittredge.
It is hard to outthrow that man. When that disc went up, I thought, no way, and man, he made it close.
Inches away from a sensational layout grab. But instead, in what has been the longest point of the game so far, the Flyers with another chance to find the equalizer.
And the Flyers just need to get it moving here. They don't need anything special.
And that's a turnover. Cretella had a chance to make the leaping grab, but Mickle's pressure perhaps prevented him from making the play.
Raleigh Flyers forcing backhand here. Nice job by Cretella, not allowing the round throw.
The backhand is the open side, and they worked it right up the open side. Now a check to Kittredge, but there might have been a travel or a contact foul. No, they do call a receiver travel there, which is a 10-yard penalty, so no score yet.
And you just see Kittredge wide open on that point. That's one of the problems with guarding him is he just keeps running. You spend so much effort trying to stop one cut, it's oftentimes that third cut where he's just wide open.
Point took nearly 4 minutes and finally paid off with Kittredge's 16th score of the season. And he looks tired.
Anytime you try to run down a throw like that, really having to lay it out on the turf, that's gonna zap you a little bit. But it didn't seem to stop him on this goal. He's able to get open on his man with a nice jab step. And
I don't know about you, I'd call that a little S-cut. Swinging one way, breaking the plane, making eye contact with a thrower, and then bolting the other direction. That duo has become an incredible brotherhood. As you see some other scores from around the AUDL, Toronto over DC, and the New York Empire quietly are still undefeated in the East. There are currently 7 undefeated teams in the league. At the most, the end of this weekend, we'll see only 5 because one of these teams will fall here tonight, and also Pittsburgh and Madison squaring off tonight at the home of the Thunderbirds.
And there you see, nice go-to D block by the Roughnecks. Justin Allen thought he had a little bit more separation. Chris Larberg with the D.
Chris Larberg, the elder Larberg brother, his younger brother Dylan playing college this weekend, but miscommunication from the Roughnecks around the end zone.
And the Flyers definitely getting some second chances on some of these turns. They need to punch it in. This is right in their game plan, being able to use their numbers, use their legs, use the fact that they slept in their own beds last night to really wear down these Roughnecks.
Oh, Nethercutt launching. Couple defenders there. Allen could not swing his arm around. Allen immediately was thanking Nethercutt for throwing it up, but Jeremy Langdon there with a good catch-up D. And Langdon, a guy who's very familiar with playing against Raleigh, did it with the Jacksonville Cannons last year, and certainly University of Central Florida has had a bunch of good matchups with UNC Wilmington and University of North Carolina in college last few years. It's a fun weekend of Ultimate around the nation with so many different college regionals transpiring. Happiest moment you can have as a college Ultimate player, in most cases, is earning that bid to Natties. Raleigh comes up with a D and then immediately gives it back. And that's just a killer mistake right there.
Rare turnover for Brian Casey, really in the right place at the right time for that D.
And the Roughnecks pay it off as Langdon puts it on the money. There's Jake Anderson to give the Roughnecks their largest lead of the day at 10-7.
That's a tough point for the Raleigh Flyers. I think Justin Allen really thought he had that throw from Nethercutt, just kind of went off his hand a little bit. And then to get the D and immediately turn it over is just rough for the morale.
Casey knew it as soon as it left his hands.
Yeah, he was kind of, looked like he was praying Tommy Lamar would dig that out for him.
See the wind playing a few tricks on the disc there, but Anderson, fortunately for Dallas, had the time to size it up.
And anytime you have that short field turnover, it's off to the races for the D-line. First one around the disc, pick it up and look for the end zone.
Anderson, a basketball background, works as a teacher and basketball coach. All right, 90 seconds here in this first half. The Flyers certainly could use even a 2-1 run in these last few possessions to try to clip off the Roughnecks lead heading into the break.
And that time is just an eternity in the AUDL.
Looking for Allen, free child nearby. And it's the secondary defender who clears it out. Ben Laurie stayed with it. That's the type of throw that has gotten the Flyers into trouble, not just this season, but in seasons past. Credit the Roughnecks for staying with it and making the defensive play. Now Dallas looking to stretch the lead to 4. Gibson with a huge fake. Jackson will actually throw it. Mickle accelerating. Just shy of the end zone. Oh, crazy contact by the goal line and little pushing and shoving both ways. It's Gibson in the middle of it. And the referees are going to try to regain control here. There was certainly contact.
Yeah, interesting to not get something on the clear out in the middle of the field there. Looks like they may go back and actually call that a foul.
And no goal.
The Flyers could really use a goal line stand here.
We'll show you exactly what happened, but we're returning to live action. So we'll see the payoff first, and there it is, as Emmons hits Jackson to give Dallas a 4-goal lead, and now we can go back and see exactly how that all transpired. But watching live, it looked like incidental contact with two players just colliding.
Right, it looked like Michael Neve was trying to establish position in the sort of front of the stack there, and Kurt was trying to come in and get some separation. And
yeah, Gibson just took out Neve, and then Gibson's the one who took exception. He did it with a smile on his face.
Calmer heads prevail.
You've been involved in a couple of those in your day.
No comment.
We pay you to comment. That's your job now. Here we go. Raleigh has 23 seconds to try to add an important goal here. Snoke will launch. Bowen can't make the grab with Kittredge nearby.
And you just saw Bo bait that throw. He gave Jarrett the separation that Snoke was looking for and then closed.
Don't believe Mickle got that off. Not gonna make it to the end zone anyway. And that'll do it for the end of the first half as the Roughnecks and the Flyers battle tightly for 24 minutes, only to see Dallas go on a 4-0 run over the final 9:28 of the quarter. Jared Bowen caught his only goal of the half with 9:28 left. And then after that, it was all Dallas. We'll take a quick timeout and then come back with some halftime conversations. Taylor's headed down onto the field to try to get the story. At the break, it's the Roughnecks 11 and the Flyers 7 here on ESPN3.
Early recognition is critical. Teaches middle school PE classes about ultimate Frisbee and cancer symptom awareness.
We're a registered nonprofit that advocates for an active, healthy lifestyle, body awareness, and speaking up if something is wrong.
Skills that, when it comes to cancer, can help save a life. Ultimate is a fast-paced team sport that's self-refereed, non-contact, and co-ed.
Spirit of the game is the foundation of Ultimate. That means we communicate respectfully, we're fair-minded, and we enjoy the game.
Ultimate is accessible to everyone. All you need is a Frisbee and some friends. Our team of coaches is made up of experienced and passionate leaders from the Ultimate community.
We teach kids that playing fair is more important than winning.
We can come to your middle school and run your PE classes for the day. And if we're not in your area yet, we'll send you our clinic in a box, where we give you the resources to run your own.
Ultimate Frisbee is one of the fastest growing sports in the world.
Teachers and parents love Ultimate Frisbee.
We are Eric!
And we want to work with you and your school.
Oh, the Dallas Roughnecks up by 4 at the half here in Raleigh, North Carolina. It has not been as dominant a performance as Dallas has been used to, but a 4-zip run over the final 9 minutes of the quarter allowed the Roughnecks to take a pretty considerable lead at the half. And right now down on the field, Taylor Pope is joined by Bo Kittredge, guys.
Thanks, Evan. I'm here with Bo Kittredge. Roughnecks lead 11-7. Kind of an onslaught there at the waning moments of the first half. How is your team feeling right now?
Good. I think we're taking off kind of our first road trip leg, so we're not used to coming out and kind of being a little woozy maybe in the head and the legs. It's a great energy. The Raleigh Flyers are actually being really chippy in the good way, not like the foul way, just bringing the energy and bringing and talking and like helping our games
It seems like you're playing a little bit in the backfield, kind of daring the Raleigh Flyers to throw it to you, and they are. You expect them to alter their game plan going into something else?
I don't think so. I think they are athletic and we're athletic, and both teams like to put it up and have their athletes make plays, and both teams are doing that, and both teams are coming down with it. We'll come down with a few more than they have, but I expect the second half to be just as fire field, hard work field as this.
How close were you to that throw from Jimmy Mickle?
Oh man, I forgot that.
It looked like you kind of thought, I can't get this, and then actually went for it.
I make a mistake. You know what? I'll actually just give up. I'm never going to get there. I'll wait the distance.
Well, thank you, Bill. I'll let you get back to your team.
Nice goal. You're getting fashion advice from Bo Kittredge, or he likes what you wear, and that's a good thing. So Taylor Pope gets the Bo seal of approval. Kittredge, a solid first half for the Roughnecks as they lead it 11-7. We'll take a quick timeout and then get a word from Justin Allen when we come back here at the half as the Flyers trail the Roughnecks 11-7.
Motel 6 is rolling out their bright, modern, updated rooms across America, so I thought I'd give you the tour. To your right, you'll see some brand new comfy bedding and bold new colors. To your left, you'll find a new flat-screen TV, so luxuriously flat. Plus, a fully updated bathroom. You get all this and more, still for the lowest price of any national chain. Take it in. Take it all in. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
I'm here with Raleigh superstar Justin Allen. Raleigh Flyers really brought the game close, but kind of went into a little bit of a deficit going into that at the end of the first half. What do you think about your chances in the second half?
I like our chances. I think we have the depth there. They only bring in 17 here, so we have a full roster that's ready to run them into the ground, and we're just going to do just that. Second half, we're trying to bring the legs.
What kind of adjustments do you think you're going to make in the second half? It looked like you guys were resorting to the deep ball a little too much, kind of playing into their deep poach. What kind of adjustments do you think you're going to make?
I hope we throw hard fakes because they are poaching deep, sitting somebody back. So hard fakes, draw that guy under, and cut through the poach.
Thank you, Justin. I'm going to send it back to you, Evan.
Taylor, Justin, thanks so much. Appreciate the time as the Flyers trail by 4 at the half. Both these teams really believe that they can win this game tonight. The Roughnecks, obviously, the favorite coming in, and the undefeated underdogs with work to do as we head toward the second half. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll show you some of the finest plays from Week 4 in the AUDL. The Week 4 top 10 coming up on the other side.
Dallas with a big opportunity here. If they can complete a couple passes, get into that end zone, make it a 9-point advantage. That one's going to be knocked away. A huge play, a huge knockdown from Cole Sullivan. Denied. Trying to find Kittredge again in another diving play just outside of the end zone. He'll finish it off with the golden nickel.
Whistle and Mike Pannoni are playing catch, and Steve McGilsky is open in the end zone. And it looks to me like this one's going to go to Rob Doulevant in first.
Again for the DC Breeze. Under 30 seconds to go.
Because Kittredge is going to be looked for in the end zone, and he will dive and make the play in the back of the end zone. Bo Kittredge, as he hands the disc to a lucky fan that he landed in front of. The man, the myth, the legend, Bo Kittredge laying out to make the grab.
That's so perfect, too. He lays out the Eric Banner.
Powell up line for Massive Kelly. Smooth offense so far. This is it. If the Rush score, they win. Scuba caught. Toronto has prevailed on the road to knock off the DC Breeze in double overtime, 25-24.
When you have to make a game-winning throw, you choose the Scuba. Not surprisingly, it's Jeff Lindquist looking for Hurst.
Almost skimming the ground. This one's going to be sent deep, looking for Cassidy Rasmussen. A little bit of contact in the end zone, and Rasmussen comes up with it. What a play, one-handed on the dive.
That throw was going lower and lower and lower, but Cassidy did not give up on it. Runs the perfect line.
Absolutely incredible. That might have been the best catch I've seen in my time covering AUDL.
Imagine you're in a new town for a couple of days, and you find yourself wanting a bike. Use Spin Lister to rent any kind of bike in your area in over 55 countries. Have an unforgettable adventure while saving up to 40% on rentals. And whatever you do, don't forget to enjoy your ride. Rent a bike today or list your own to start making money and connecting with awesome people.
Oh, great fun being had here at the half as several Triangle area Ultimate Youth showing off their stuff at Cardinal Gibbons High School. You see the halftime score, 11-7. The visiting Roughnecks leading by 4. And the story of the Roughnecks with the owner, Jim Gerentzer, building this franchise. Obviously, Bo Kittredge deciding to join the Dallas franchise, coming from San Jose, where he won back-to-back MVP awards and back-to-back AUDL championships. It says something about his purpose as an ultimate player and where he wants this sport to go, and yet he admits he still gets nervous before big games.
I just get really excited. I think every time I step on the field, or every time any of us step on the field, we have a chance to show the sport in a way that's never been seen. This is a really special team. We have the cameras here now. We have the people watching. We're just like so close to breaking through of what I want the sport to be in the world, and that is basically a mainstream sport. I think just going out to these air clinics and showing kids, they start with such, despondence. They don't really care, but then you show them this sport, and by the end, they're in love. You see this energy, and I think this sport can do that. I think it can do that to the whole world, and I want to be able to do that. And so I am nervous because I know each time I step on the field, there's a chance that I'm going to be able to, or he or him, one of us is going to be able to break this sport out of, this subculture and make it a mainstream sport.
Interesting comments from the phenom, Beaufort Kittredge. And we welcome you back into our broadcast booth here at Cardinal Gibbons High School, everybody. Evan Lepler with Taylor Pope. And interesting thoughts from an elder statesman now of the sport. What do you think of what he had to say?
Well, I think anytime you put the amount of energy behind this message that Bo Kittredge has been promoting with Eric and with the Dallas Roughnecks, I think that good things are going to come. And he really has been an ambassador for the sport for a long time, and it's great to see him getting the press that he deserves.
He's admitted, too, that he has matured over the past few years and learned that he can't just do it all himself. He needs the right teammates around him, and he's built great teams wherever he's been.
That's right. He can't do it himself, but he can do a lot. I've played with him. I've been lucky enough to play with him at a couple fun tournaments, Potlatch a couple times, and when you need a play, he's there to make it.
Yeah, there's no question about that. His team got a 4-0 run late in the second quarter. If you were coaching the Flyers, what would your message be right now?
Stay the course, settle down. They went away with what was working, playing an underneath game, and really let loose some shots, and that's what the Roughnecks want. They want to leave Bo in the backfield and let him scoop up those deep Ds. They need to settle in, use the field, and really get the offense grinding underneath.
Well, check out some of the top plays of the half. A half that became a little testy at times. You can tell how much both these teams want to win tonight, and you saw that with some physicality late in the half.
Yeah, I think it's, I think Bo mentioned it. It's kind of the good chippy. You know, the energy is there. You want these guys to really battle against each other. But I think that, at the end of the day, the vibe for this game is still pretty clean.
That was very early when Tommy Lamar hit Ben Dieter. That was the Flyers' first score after they fell behind 2-0. Here you see Freechild maybe get away with a little bit of a push-off, and then he got away with a lofty throw that Richardson thought he had defended, but snagged on the second effort. Later, Nickel going deep, and
this is that clear-out play.
In the orchestration in the end zone, it was Gibson who was just trying to clear to space, and I still don't know what Kurt was angry about there, because Neve was just on the mark, and it was Gibson that trucked him over.
That's right. I think Gibson was really trying to initiate that contact and then break off to the backhand side, but came in a little too hot.
I like Kurt Gibson. I like Michael Neve as well. Little surprised at how Kurt reacted to that play. But his team has a 4-score lead, and we're about to start the second half with the Roughnecks receiving. And you see Freechild, Kittredge, Gibson all there. One of the interesting dynamics of this 2016 season, Taylor, of course, is the upcoming World Championships. Dallas's next game is tomorrow at Charlotte, 1 o'clock down in the Queen City, a couple hours from here. Next weekend, the Roughnecks will play at home against Austin, but Bo Kittredge, Jimmy Mickle, Cassidy Rasmussen, the 5-Team USA stars are all going to be headed to Columbia for a Team USA warm-up tournament. So Dallas is going to kind of have to reshape itself a little bit as Kittredge launching to Mickle.
You do not see that every day.
Oh, contact in the end zone. Taylor got the disc up high, but then he landed on Mickle's back.
Let's see if Mickle takes this one back. I know there was some contact, but it looked like he mistimed his jump on the first attempt, and well, let's see the.
Well, you're entitled to the space directly above you. So if Taylor came down on Mickle like that, I think it's a.
Well, the foul would have been on Cretella. Hunter Taylor really there to clean up the garbage.
Oh wow, that was crafty. Mickle looking right, and then Schubert left to Kittredge for the score. You can sense a little air coming out of the Raleigh crowd after that point.
Yeah, that's really the look that they want. Having Bo Kittredge huck up a lofty one with their athletes in the backfield. They want to make that play, and I think that they felt like they did. We're going to see the foul here. Yeah, I guess Joey Cretella kind of came down on Jimmy before he went up to make that play. So foul is justified. Although if he hadn't jumped, it looked like Hunter Taylor may have gotten there to get the D.
Jimmy Mickle now with 4 assists in the game. When you started playing high-level Ultimate, how common were scoobers?
Common with the Canadians. Most of the U.S. teams didn't throw them. You could always count on guys like Jeff Lindquist to throw some dirty left-handed scoobers.
Saw it last weekend in double overtime for the Toronto Rush.
No,
yeah, you're
I
talking.
maybe say. Oh, is he playing? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Nether cut up line.
That's one of those retire 5-6 years ago and come out.
Oh, Allen did not have the full field view, and Freechild poached into the passing lane to intercept the pass. Kittredge secures possession. Launches long. Wide open. Another Roughnecks score. Kittredge shows off the throw, and it's Dan Emmons with the Dallas break.
And the Flyers need to stop the bleeding. Settle into their game plan. Get some passes. Get some easy goals. Keep this game close and hope that they can mount a comeback in the second half.
Hammond showing off the long strides out of the University of North Texas on a good toss from Kittredge. Second assist for Bo. So the Flyers, remember when this game was 7-all? It's now 13-7, and Raleigh hasn't scored since Jared Bowen's catch with 9:28 to go in the second.
And you see Nethercutt out there trying to rally the troops, get them focused on this point alone, get one in and allow their defense to apply some pressure. You know the D-line is huddling up, just itching to get back on the field.
Well, perhaps a little break here because the Roughnecks were offsides on the pull. So Raleigh begins at the center of the field.
Watch out for that late double team.
Now, Dallas has made a couple defensive plays during this run, but it's mostly been Raleigh mistakes.
It has, but you look at the positioning of the Roughnecks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They are fronting the Flyers, you know, daring them to throw it deep where they have been very unsuccessful.
Quick shot to the end zone, and it's been that kind of quarter so far for the Flyers.
Uncharacteristic drops for the Flyers. Tommy Lamar there looked like he was surprised by the speed of that throw, just right through the hands. And they need to bracket this, see if Terrence can make a play.
Raleigh
nice
able to knock it away.
And a great no call by the ref.
That was a true 50-50 disc if ever there was. Let's see if Raleigh can work it down.
And you just need to get one. You just need to get one to get your confidence up a little bit.
Did Bowen put Mitchell too far? Oh, there was great defensive pressure from behind.
And I think Mitchell feels like there was some contact, but looked like it hit him in the hands.
Yeah, Anderson ran with him stride for stride, and Mitchell probably isn't used to that feeling of not being able to just simply outrun him in the open space.
And the Raleigh O team needs to apply some defensive pressure here.
Malachek, nice hammer. Larberg gives it to Barnett. Back settled down with Langdon.
Flyers O team looking gassed.
Bennett into the grasp of Larberg for the score. What a throw from Matt Bennett, and the Roughnecks are rolling here in Raleigh.
And you're the Raleigh Flyers there. You work it up the field only to turn it over in the end zone and have to play D for 80 yards again. Such a tough mental blow to the Raleigh Flyers O-line, and they look tired. You almost wonder, when is Mike DiNardis going to put the D-line out there to give the Raleigh O team a blow?
There's the chance for Mitchell. He couldn't haul it in, and just a confident strike from Bennett. A wizard with the disc. Larberg was pretty tired at the end of that one. So the Roughnecks are currently on a 7-0 run. And it has been more than 13 minutes of game action since the Flyers last scored. And another ill-advised shot looking long. Freechild with the easy interception.
And the Roughnecks really just having their way right now.
Jackson to Gibson. Got to be demoralizing. You make one mistake and you're back playing defense again.
And you see the Roughnecks, they're just open for these little short passes. You know, you want the Flyers to be fronting here. They're close to the end zone. You got to get goal side or in between the goal and the man, or else you're going to have easy goals in the front of the end zone like that one.
It's Ben Laurie. The Roughnecks now with 8 straight.
And I see what Lynn was looking for there. Mark Lynn with the turnover for the Flyers. You know, you see a guy like Hunter Taylor break open deep, and you want to get him the ball and get some energy back into your team. But at the same time, at this point in the game, you really need to get some easy goals, and that wasn't the best look.
Had a shot of Matt Bennett's last throw, and then Laurie catching the goal with 7:50 remaining.
And all smiles on the Roughnecks sideline.
The Roughnecks are used to this. The Flyers are not. I mean, this is not a Raleigh team that has been beaten by large margins. Their biggest deficit was in the semifinal game at San Jose last year against the Madison Radicals. They battled back and only lost by 3. A game, though, that they trailed by 4 in early and by even more than that in the first half. Low throw, sneaks past the defender.
Incredible
and Bowen makes a great catch.
Incredible catch. Good focus and concentration. And Bowen with the strike. They needed that.
A cathartic score for the Flyers. Bowen to Allen.
And now you hear that crowd. The Flyers finally feeling it a little bit, and hopefully they can string together a couple breaks here and get themselves back in the game. These AUDL games are long. They have plenty of time to get themselves back in the game, but they need to get some breaks now.
Ends a drought of longer than 14 minutes of game action without a score. Good hustle from Larberg on the bid.
And there you see Jarrett Bowen just pumping up his man, Justin Allen, saying, let's go, let's get this going and get back in this game.
Here comes the gimmicky roller pull to the sideline.
Looking to get a quick double team and see if they can utilize the length of those marks. And you see Hunter Taylor hanging out by that offside handler saying, you know, throw that hammer up to me, I'm ready.
Freechild picking up the disc.
There it is. Hunter Taylor. Oh,
Jimmy Mickle
so
able
close
to make the two-handed catch, and then he threw it away.
And that's the thing with that D is get them to make one questionable decision, and maybe they'll make another one.
Well, they made the tough play and messed up the easy play. Flyers make a tough play with Taylor. Dump it back for Sittler.
Mike DeNardis.
A lot of contact.
Choosing to save his timeouts, letting his D team work this one up.
Why not? Sittler pivoting through the contact, and there's Gibson's second foul in the last 10 seconds.
Raleigh Flyers spread out in the end zone, looking to score with their handlers in the front. Work those give and goes.
Sittler hits McAllister. The Flyers with just their second break of the game.
And there you see a little bit of energy. Tim McAllister trying to pump up his team, saying, let's go.
What does McAllister bring to this team?
Pure athleticism. He is an incredible athlete and a shutdown handler defender. He's not afraid to bring the body and the physicality into your play. And if he's guarding you, you're going to feel it.
So the Flyers, with 2 quick goals in less than a minute, have transformed an 8-goal gap into a 6-score deficit. You see the big mallet that makes an appearance every time the Flyers register a break. Looks heavy. So 6.5 to go in the third. What do you think Raleigh's target should be? By the end of the third quarter, we want to be within what?
I think if they could get it to within 3, they would be thrilled.
Sure.
That's going to require about 3 more breaks. They have the athletes and the studs out there to do it. David Richardson, Hunter Taylor, Tim McAllister, Noah Saul, Justin Allen.
Kittredge to Mickle underneath.
They
and
need
now Freechild.
We need some honest matchups here. Playing underneath, that's what's going to register that D.
Mickle rips it away. And contact on the mark.
And the first signs of real pressure from the Raleigh Flyers. I like what I'm seeing on this point from them.
And I think there was an offensive foul downfield, so Mickle will retreat the 10 yards.
Noah Saul needs to get on that handler, shut them down to keep them on the line.
Saul right on Malachek, throwing up high, and Kittredge comes down with it through the contact.
That's what the Flyers are looking for. A couple questionable throws. Hunter Taylor.
Slack able to get it through past the layout of Taylor and into the grasp of Costello.
And that's when ultimate is a game of inches. Hunter Taylor thinking he had that D just outside of his long reach. Had about 2 chances at a D on that point.
Yeah, that's not a bad defensive effort there from the Flyers.
No, you're pretty happy if you're Mike DeNardis about that defensive effort. You know, anytime you're playing ultimate, you're only going to get a couple chances. They had a couple chances there. If you can keep that going throughout the game, you're going to start to get some cumulative pressure and get some of those breaks.
So Thomas Slack with a couple first half goals picks up his first assist.
For a practice player, he sure has had an incredible game so far.
He's very quick, and he does not make mistakes, and that's probably the most important characteristic if you're going to flank all these superstars.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes when you sort of get put into that role and the expectations are low, it's easy for you to step up and shine, and I think that's what we're seeing from him.
Good matchup here with Freechild and Nethercutt.
Flyers running stack pretty far away.
Nethercutt launches looking for Mitchell. They were baiting it. Nethercutt throw might be too far. Oh, and Mitchell near that padding used for the pole vault here at Cardinal Gibbons.
And I think he thought he was out of real estate because he certainly had it in bounds.
Wow.
Just needs to hang on there, and that's a goal.
I mean, we've seen Raleigh several times. The end of the first quarter, Jarrett Bowen had one in his hands in the end zone, couldn't haul it in.
Tommy Lamar,
yep.
They've had some drops. They've had some chances.
That was a gorgeous throw by Nethercutt. And I believe Mitchell's called for the foul on the mark. So Peterson will march off the 10 yards.
So hard to play D right now after being a catch away from a walking off the field. They need to find something here and get this disc back and put one in to help their D-line out.
Another 10 yards as a result of Dieter fouling Jackson. There is Jackson. Nice quick pivot. Such an underrated skill, the quickness of that pivot. Get the mark off balance.
That's true, and guys that are able to sort of weld that into their throwing motion, working the pivot into their throwing motion is, you know, critical for getting good throws off of a hard mark.
More beautiful offense, and that's a break for the Roughnecks. So after Raleigh scored 2 straight, the Roughnecks respond in kind. Jackson with a score.
And so tough for the morale of the defense there. You go out, you get that break, okay, we're rolling, and then to be so close to getting another shot out there and then seeing the offense get scored on is tough mentally.
Matt Jackson, the Arkansas kid, currently a molecular biology major, now works as a research scientist studying the genetics of human intestinal bacteria. Smart kid from Memphis, Tennessee originally. And the Flyers here just trying to chip away. 4 minutes and change left in the third quarter. Evan Lepler and Taylor Pope with you from Cardinal Gibbons High School as we wrap up our April schedule of AUDL Saturday matchups on ESPN3. Off next week, back with you for Madison and Chicago. on Friday, May 13th.
And this is good movement by the Flyers. They come out with the stack play, getting some unders, working hard, trying to get open with their legs. You love to see that.
Flyers trying to execute efficiently and patiently around the goal line.
Flyers out there with some of their more defensive players, Joey Cretella, Noah Saul, trying to give the offense a breather. Justin Allen taking his time on that throw and finding Dieter. Incredible strike.
Ben Dieter's been doing this for a long time, hasn't he?
He has. He comes from an incredible background at ECU, and you know, Ring of Fire had tried to recruit him for almost a decade before finally getting the chance to play with, for him to be on the team. And you know, he just loved playing with his boys, and you know, that ECU community has such an incredible ultimate history and brotherhood. I know those guys do a lot together, and you got guys like Joey Cretella who have, you know, looked up to Dieter their entire ultimate career, and he's such a great leader and leads by example.
So 17-10 is the score after the Dieter delivery, and a purposeful roller out of bounds will set up Gibson, and he easily gets it off the sideline. Free Child threads the needle to Kittredge, to Mickle.
And one thing that
four members of the Team USA national team, Taylor, touching the disc to start this point.
That's right. One thing that defense does do is gets the offense out of their game plan. All of a sudden, you're having to make adjustments and find where the open players are. That can be an asset to the Raleigh Flyers if they can get a stop here. Noah Saul with a shutdown in the lane play.
And a stall called on Gibson.
And you gotta credit the downfield D there. And they have an open player, and they're gonna launch it.
Kittredge approaching, Saul's shot. Oh, huge contact in the end zone, and it's ruled incomplete. And
Kittredge got all of Tim McAllister there.
Shaken up.
I don't really see a foul on that play, but two guys going for the 50-50 ball. There's going to be some contact, and I think Kittredge got the worst of that one.
Be curious to see this one a second time. I think that should have been a foul on both. But instead, Dallas will keep the disc. You disagree?
Well, no, I've always thought it's tough to call a foul when he basically misses the catch before the contact. Now, he might be expecting the contact, and there was contact, but it looked like it happened just a moment after the catch.
Oh, David Richardson, incredible speed, and this time, no second effort catch for Dallas.
Noah Saul there to clean up the garbage, let D-Rich do the work, and in there to sweep it up is Noah Saul. And he needs to drive his team down the field. This D team needs to score right now.
And a timeout called from the Flyers sidelines with $1:35 to go here in the third quarter. Dallas in front 17-10. Raleigh looking to claw back into this one on ESPN3.
Imagine you're in a new town for a couple of days and you find yourself wanting a bike. Use Spin Lister to rent any kind of bike in your area in over 55 countries. Have an unforgettable adventure while saving up to 40% on rentals. And whatever you do, don't forget to enjoy your ride. Rent a bike today or list your own to start making money and connecting with awesome people.
Well, David Richardson with a D for the Flyers, and the O-line heading back out there with Nethercutt, Dieter, Snoke, Allen, Mitchell, and Lynn. Garrett Bowen as well. 17-10 your score. And Bo Kittredge a little shaken up after that last collision with Tim McAllister.
And you see when the Raleigh Flyers have their D-line out there, they're able to stop the Roughnecks from going deep and use their athleticism with Hunter Taylor and David Richardson. It's when the O team is out there and they haven't been able, when they've turned it over, they haven't been able to get the disc back, and that's what's led to this deficit.
How have you felt about Raleigh's decision-making offensively here in the second half?
Well, sometimes you have to take what the other team's giving you, and again, we're seeing the Roughnecks really fronting, and that kind of forces you to throw it deep. But you know, you really just need to see the Raleigh Flyers grind a little bit.
Tough catch there for Allen, and he floats this one up.
And I think Jarrett Bowen might make this grab.
Oh, Bowen got hands on it, but he could not haul it in. And how many times have we said that tonight on a near catch for the Flyers?
Really important for the Flyers to get this D. Remember, this is a break. The O-line is out there after the timeout.
Raleigh will get the disc to start the fourth. They could score here and then score to start the fourth. It could be a 5-goal game, but just as easily, Dallas could make it an 8-score game here in this final minute.
Beautiful step around backhand by Freechild to get it off the line.
Yes, indeed. Laurie hits Peterson to Jackson. Flings it to the end zone for the score. No, not yet. Caught it with his foot on the goal line, not a goal. Little push pass to put it home, and Peterson will get the credit for the goal.
You know, it's easy to focus on the studs up for the Roughnecks, Bo Kittredge, Dylan Freechild, Jimmy Mickle, but guys like Jackson and Peterson are really having a huge impact on this game.
Relentless speed. That's what they're about, relentless speed. The disc skills aren't bad either.
I believe that's the second goal we've seen Jackson throw.
Well, that's Anderson that time. We've seen Jackson throw a few as well.
Right, the hockey assist.
Yes. Peterson gets the credit, his second goal. A highlight reel machine during his college days in Colorado.
And that's tough for the Flyers. You know, the D's out there, they get the turn, they have the disc. We call the timeout, the offense goes out there, turns it over.
You know, the Dallas Roughnecks talk so much about how we want to make highlights. With that said, they've made the safer, smarter play much more frequently than Raleigh has tonight, and I think that's the biggest reason why they're up by 8. Final seconds of the quarter.
And you see Kittredge just hanging out in the backfield.
And a whistle came before the disc was released.
I think they called that down.
Yeah, they did. Noah Saul didn't get to it, so they stopped the clock because of the stoppage. They added a couple seconds, and this is all of a sudden a huge opportunity for Dallas to try to really stick the dagger in Raleigh's back.
This is enough time for them to actually, throw one pat.
Oh my. Well, he didn't get that one off. But that might be the only thing that Dallas has done poorly through the first 3 quarters here tonight.
And the Flyers haven't looked bad, they just haven't completed points. They're working it down to the end zone. They're having some good offense out there and then turning it over or having some uncharacteristic drops that have really, kind of kept them from staying in this game.
Dallas led by 1 after 1. Roughnecks were up 4 at the half. They stretched the lead to 8 as we head to the 4th. Your score, the Raleigh Flyers trailing Dylan Freechild and the Dallas Roughnecks. And for Freechild, this experience has been something unlike anything he's ever done before. Spent most of his life in Oregon and Portland and Eugene, and guy who started playing Ultimate when he was 8 years old, part of the Luke Johnson Middle School program in Eugene. But it's been a different experience for him, starting to train with Bo Kittredge and Jimmy Mickle, and he talked about what he's learned from those workouts.
So the biggest thing I've learned is that if you actually want to see results, you're gonna have to keep at it more than those few times. That'll keep you level, and I think I've been satisfied with that for a while, and I don't think that's necessarily a knock on me. But learning this new way of taking yourself a little bit more seriously is a nice eye opener while I'm still young.
Freechild and the Roughnecks up by 8. And we had a good chat with him before the game, Taylor. He is a unique character. He had a Justin Bieber backpack. He has a tattoo on his arm in honor of an old high school friend that passed away drowning off the Oregon coast. A sad story, but a guy who clearly is still coming into his own as a player.
Yeah, you see him win the Callahan, and sky's the limit. He's a great player, and used to being a leader for Rhino, and I know this has been a unique experience, moving away from Portland, Oregon, to Dallas. No offense, but it's got to be a little bit of a culture shock for him.
See if Raleigh can put some breaks together. Only 2 breaks in the game for the Flyers. There's an offensive hold. That's how they needed to start the quarter, and they got the goal quickly in just about 30 seconds off the clock.
And look to see a sense of urgency from the Raleigh defense here. They know that if they're going to come back in this game, it has got to start now.
Smooth offense. This is what they expect. And Jonathan Nethercutt, when he has time to make the decision, he can put it anywhere. Tommy Lamar with the goal. UNC to UNC Wilmington alumni right there, and tomorrow morning up in Virginia, once again it'll be UNC versus UNCW for an Atlantic Coast Regional Championship and a higher seed at Nationals, which are right here in Raleigh 4 weeks from now.
2 great college programs. Tommy Lamar really benefiting from solid coaching of Greg Vassar and Tully Beatty. UNCW legends.
Sure. Well, the biggest story of the day, I believe, in college Ultimate was the fact that Pittsburgh lost a pool play game.
There's D-Rich.
Richardson and Kittredge, and Bo wins the battle, it appears. Referees conversing.
Looks like they're calling Bo for a push-off. Yeah, it's going to be the Flyers' disc. They need to score here.
Next stoppage, we'll take a look at that if we can. But first, the Flyers with a chance to break to begin the quarter. Sittler and Saul in the backfield. Richardson dumps it to Saul.
And this is what they need. Just move the Frisbee, hit the open guy.
That's not hitting the open guy, but it gets there. And the Flyers have scored 2 straight. How about that?
You cannot stress the importance of that break enough. The Flyers early in the quarter getting that critical break, getting themselves a little bit closer into this game. They need to string together a few more, but we're going to see that foul here. 2 guys really just running down the disc. It's hard to...
It's a defensible call for sure.
Sure, and you see Bo's arm. He's got the arm up, kind of holding D-Rich off, but...
That's a veteran's tact right there.
He had the better position, kind of a...
It's almost like he didn't need to do that.
That's right, that's right.
There's a pretty good catch from McAllister, who's had himself a decent night.
And I love the swagger to just immediately throw that inside-out flick to all the way across the field to a wide-open Jake Coleman.
So the Flyers, with just their 3rd break of the night.
Flyers coming down in a little bit of a junk look. They got Noah Saul hanging out deep. Jimmy Mickle, ISO. They're looking to release Bo here.
And deep shot through the hands of Taylor and caught by Kittredge to Slack near the goal line and into the end zone for Laurie. If you're Mike DeNardis,
you want that. That's exactly the play that you want. Hunter Taylor is in the perfect position to make that D, and it just goes through his hands.
Hunter Taylor couldn't do this again if he tried.
It's been the story for the Flyers all night. So close to getting those Ds, getting those critical catches for goals, and just coming up a little bit short.
And you have the D in your hands. You're thinking about maybe we can get back within 5, and instead, just like that, it's back to 7.
Well, great test for the Raleigh O team.
Look at this.
They need to hold here. Kittredge, I think, was a little surprised that disc made it there. Kudos to him for being able to elevate and get that disc really at the top of his leap.
Doesn't it feel like Bo always has things like that happen to him? He's a great player, no question.
Great players create luck.
That's true.
Right place at the right time, good things are going to happen.
That's very true, well said. Bowen was going deep.
They need to work this one up. It's going to be easy to take a shot, but they need to holster it. Work that swing, get it to the other side of the field.
Here's Snoke floating it for Dieter.
They called that the throw of the future.
Gorgeous toss. All right, back to a 6-score game. The goals are happening rapid fire right now, so that's a good sign for Raleigh. 9:42 to play.
And this is when you start to wonder if the Roughnecks are gonna have the legs to really hold off the Flyers down the stretch. It'll be interesting to see. A lot of their studs have played a lot of points this game, and you know, as these rapid fire points go, you're sprinting down every time. It's easy to let the legs start to get the best of you. Critical D point for the Raleigh Flyers. It seems like every point is the next critical D point.
Well, the Flyers, with their veteran handler David Snoke at the helm.
Beautiful pull by Sittler.
Worth mentioning briefly who both teams are without today. Obviously, Raleigh would love to have their Florida contingent. Jordan Huston, Peter Vanderberg, and of course, Chris LaRocque, the leader of that trio. Such a dynamic two-way player. But obviously, Dallas would love to have Cassidy Rasmussen, who was their #2 assist man through the first 3 games. Also missing Kai Marshall, one of their top goal scorers, and Dylan Larberg. Ooh, yikes. Not sure if Malachek kept that pivot foot, but the referees made no call, and it quickly becomes a Dallas score.
And you see the Roughnecks there. They had it on the line. They did a short dump to the middle of the field, hit that continuation swing, and then played the disc back inside. That's something we're not seeing from the Flyers. They're getting kind of stuck on the line, being forced to throw inside passes. You'd like to see a little more side-to-side action for them.
Most impressive thing for the Roughnecks might be their most boring offense.
Great players make offense look boring.
Brandon Malachek has quite a history playing Ultimate. He threw the first ever pull back when the AUDL started in 2012 up in New England.
It's interesting to see him without his shades on.
I think he had them on before the game, maybe in the first quarter, but under the lights, not necessary perhaps.
Known for wearing the rec specs.
So the pull sailed out of bounds. Raleigh trailing by 7 with possession, just over 9 to play. The showdown in the Midwest tonight, currently being led by the Madison Radicals. They're up 19-14 in the second half in Pittsburgh, trying to throw the first punch in that rivalry this season. Pittsburgh has never lost at home. Layout in the end zone, and the Flyers were there, but Casey couldn't make the catch.
Story of the night for the Flyers. 95% of the way there. only to have the turnover.
Bennett double teamed. Sneaks it through. And right up the sideline come the Roughnecks until one mistake.
And that's great pressure by Jarrett Bowen. A lot of times when that guy just flies by and you make that narrow catch, it's easy to throw that, to rush that next pass, and that's what happened there. Guy's wide open, going deep.
Anderson with the error when it looked like Dallas had a wide open man in the end zone. Another chance for Raleigh to get back within 6.
And you got 3 guys for Raleigh standing in the middle of the field. Lots of space out there. They need to work it. Another cut released.
Oh my. Allen took out Bowen. Thankfully, they both pop right back up. And Dieter breaks free in the end zone.
That's an impressive point by Jarrett Bowen. He lays out, almost gets the layout D. Able to stand in there, knowing he's going to take the hit on that catch and deliver a nice inside backhand.
If you could foul your own teammate, that would be a 10-yard penalty at the minimum.
I know Jarrett Bowen well. He thrives off of contact, an ex-football player. He's used to that.
Yeah, you and Jarrett seem cut from the same cloth a little bit. Fair to say?
Fair to say, fair to say.
You played football back in your day?
No, I was a soccer and lacrosse guy.
Some physicality in both of those sports, especially lacrosse.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Raleigh's running out of time to make its move. We want to know from you who you think tonight's MVP is. Tweet at the AUDL with a hashtag AUDL MVP. You can also tweet at Evan Lepler and at Taylor Pope, who is looking for Twitter followers, and he's a fantastic follow because he hardly ever clogs up your feed. And that's certainly important. Taylor Pope, at Taylor Pope DPT.
I didn't even know what Twitter was until our first game.
You're a natural. Like the Roughnecks, who have guys who are still learning the AUDL rules and making offense look easy in the pro game. Mickle to Freechild. Those two guys have played together for a long time.
The Flyers look a little gassed, a little demoralized. When you're so close on so many of those Ds to come up short, it's tough to keep going out there and giving that same amount of energy that you need to claw back into this game. You're seeing it. What starts to fail you is your anticipation. You start to chase a little bit, and that's what leads to you being behind the play. And you saw that there. The Roughnecks able to get the disc and hit inside breaks.
Dylan Freechild, a man of many celebrations. That's a fairly low-key celebration there, having a little hydration session.
We asked him before the game if he's been able to break out any of his characteristic spikes, and he said, I've only had 3 goals.
Well, he's got another one now, and you know, Freechild and Mickle were teammates back in 2010 on the U.S. junior national team that went to Germany and took gold, beat Canada in the finals 17-7. They beat Great Britain in the semifinals 17-4. And aside from Freechild and Mickle, you had Seattle's Matt Rader on that team, San Francisco's Eli Kearns, Atlanta's Elliot Erickson, and others. It's funny to look back at that roster now and you see what some of those players have become.
Incredible talent.
Simon Montague was on that team too. Chris
Really
Kocher.
the stars of today.
And tomorrow.
I think Jarrett Bowen lucky to only get the receiver travel there.
One thing referees have de-emphasized a little bit as Nethercutt's throw flops to the ground. They're not calling travels as often this year, and that was a directive to try not to call anything really ticky-tack. If it's going to be a travel turnover, it needs to be blatant.
Right.
You still see that a lot. Last week, Raleigh got a huge advantage earlier in their game when Nashville was called for a travel in what turned out to be a Raleigh 20-18 win, a close game. There's a receiver's travel, which is when the receiver doesn't set the pivot foot in the right spot, the offense keeps possession.
And a turnover for a throwing travel is just such a devastating penalty for a team to lose possession when it's so hard to create Ds in this game. Unless the thrower is really gaining an advantage, I like that laying off by the referees.
Contact foul on the mark there. Justin Allen bumping Matt Jackson.
Now we need to see Raleigh really anticipate, play underneath, trust that they're going to be able to stop them.
Well, easier said than done for sure, because it's another Roughnecks score. Ted Barnett from Jeremy Langdon.
And the Flyers struggling to protect the open side. When you can't stop the defender from going to where you want them to, makes for a tough day.
So the lead back up to 8, matching the largest of the game. Back-to-back scores from the Roughnecks. That's a break right there. How has Dallas impressed you in a way that perhaps confounded your expectations coming into tonight?
Well, I'm surprised at how much they spread the disc around, quite frankly. You know, it even seems like on their lines, they're not really going with a strict O and D line. There's a lot of interplay with their team, and that kind of mentality really sort of helps the team have a whatever 7 we put out there, it's going to get the job done attitude. And I've been impressed by their ability to use space and really apply defensive pressure underneath for the entirety of the game.
Defensive breakdown here. Wide open is Cretella. And that's the easiest score for the Flyers this year.
Great to see them finally bring in one of those wide open hucks.
Shows when there's no defense, it's pretty easy.
Well, we've seen them drop a couple today that looked like they were going to be sure things, but
it's true.
You get the feeling right now that Raleigh is just trying to establish doing some things that are, you know, going to some things that are working and trying to, you know, at this point in the game, maybe figure out what kind of advantages they can get for the next meeting. Ryan Sittler going with the roller that didn't quite make it out of bounds.
Well, Dallas will have a quick turnaround because they have to play tomorrow down in Charlotte. And that is not an easy trip for the Roughnecks to play the Express in the second day of the back-to-back. You know, Charlotte will be hyped for that game.
That's right.
Guys like Micah Hood and Shane Sisko, Ken Porter, Jakeem Polk eager to get his first shot at some of the Roughnecks athletes.
And Josh Hartzog there with a hand block.
Yeah, he has really improved to earn more and more playing time for the Flyers.
We were joking before the game.
Wow.
Talking about how hard some of these guys work and how it just goes to how blue collar this
Gibson reads it perfectly. And a timeout called near the end zone. So a timeout call. The Roughnecks have the disc. And you remember a year ago, Taylor, how Kurt Gibson and Jimmy Mickle were commuting to San Diego every week and playing with the Growlers. Jimmy Mickle, talking yesterday, said this year is a completely different situation.
Because in San Diego, I was still living in Colorado, so I was flying out every weekend and got to spend, you know, only a few hours with the guys every weekend, and even if there's 10 weekends at the end of it, it's not that much time. Whereas here, it's every day we're in this world and we're trying to build this team and hanging out with people on the team and being able to practice with the team, and it's just a different comfort. Last year, I was definitely uncomfortable with playing a big role on a team that I didn't put a lot of time into in person. So I think that's the biggest difference.
Jimmy Mickle, another solid game tonight for his new team. He's living at Roughnecks headquarters with Bo Kittredge, Dylan Freechild as well. Dylan claimed that he did most of the cooking.
Well, I think you see Jimmy Mickle there really alluding to the difficulty of putting together an all-star team and making it work. It takes more than just putting the pieces together. You really have to build that chemistry by training and gutting out workouts with the guys. And I think that's really showing in their play in this game.
Too easy. Mickle from Gibson.
Just with that big body, if you let him get in that seam, it's over.
Well, the Roughnecks are going to improve to 4-0 on their season. And what do you see from Jimmy Mickle on that last cut?
Well, like I said, just really, using his body. As soon as the disc is tapped in, he got the inside lane and just sealed his man off. And in the end zone, you only need a hand's width to score the goal. An easy dish off for Gibson, and unfortunately, Sittler, once he allowed that inside position, it's over. Really looking for the Flyers to, show some gumption here, not just try to hook themselves back into this game, really run their offense and get some movement, get themselves better for their next game.
Raleigh, after today, has its next 3 games all on the road. Next weekend they'll be at Atlanta, the following weekend at Jacksonville, and then a quicker trip to Charlotte.
And you can't overlook the hustle. They're sneakily just kind of hanging out underneath the radar at 3-1. That's going to be a big matchup for the South Division that is actually going to be very, very close after this game. Nice heads-up play by Joey Cretella. He's never going to give up fighting.
Currently, Atlanta's down in Jacksonville for a really pivotal game from the Cannons' perspective. They're 1-3, Atlanta's 3-1. In the fourth quarter, Taylor, the Cannons have a 22-16 lead. So Jacksonville in something of a must-win situation, kind of like the experience last year, of course, when they started 1-3 and then got hot, won 9 of their last 10 to get into the playoffs.
And a lot of those guys are fighters, and back against the wall, I'm not surprised that they're putting up a good showing tonight.
Their head coach, Tuba Benson-Jaja, a guy you played with for a long time.
A long time.
You taught him everything he knows, right?
Oh, no, we all figured it out together. I'll tell you what, though, you talk about 2 guys that battle it out in practice on more than one occasion. I think it came down to a chair thrown at so-and-so, but...
Who's this?
Me and Tuba.
Really?
But after practice, we're right as rain, 2 teammates hanging out together.
Hard to believe, considering you're so well-tempered here in the broadcast booth and so polite and calm. A laser beam to the end zone. Allen to Mitchell.
Love to see the Flyers not giving up, continuing to use their legs, get those inside throws. I know it's tough when it feels like you have an insurmountable deficit, but you got to just keep grinding and know that you're not just playing for this game, but you can really carry momentum into the next game, and having some more offensive confidence against these this really well-manned Dallas Roughneck roster, having some good points can really help you in the next meeting.
Well, the Raleigh Flyers are going to get another shot at Dallas. It's going to come in Dallas's regular season finale. Last week of the regular season, July 9th, Raleigh will go to Texas. They'll play at Dallas on Saturday in the Roughnecks finale, and then at Austin on Sunday. And of course, Raleigh already played Austin here narrowly eking out a 1-goal win.
It'll be interesting to see if that will mean back-to-back trips to Dallas for the Flyers, if the Roughnecks can hold on and continue to control the South.
Sure. Well, one interesting thing to note, this Roughnecks team is going to be without the quintet of Gibson, Kittredge, Rasmussen, Mickle, and Freechild for the game against Austin on May the 7th, and then at the very least for the game on June 19th against Atlanta. That's smack dab in the middle of World Championships in London. You wonder if Dallas will still be undefeated by the time Raleigh travels to Texas, or whether Dallas will trip up once or twice, but they certainly look very good tonight on the tough road pitch of a defending champion in the division. Final minute, the Flyers with another break, but it'll be too little too late for Jake Coleman and company.
Flyers hoping for some sort of three-point play here to get them back into this game. Unfortunately, they got to just grind them out one at a time, and that's the mentality they have right now. Look, let's just get one. Let's just get one and see where we're at. And unfortunately, it looks like time is going to be their enemy here, but I love to see them, continuing to grind, continuing to fight and get Ds. Raleigh Flyer fans just broke another bucket. They're not going anywhere. The Raleigh faithful sticking around into the end.
Six-goal game with 55 seconds to go. The Flyers are in a bit of a precarious predicament because of the fact they have their next 3 games on the road. Dallas with a mistake. Hartzog with possession to Cretella. McAllister in the end zone for the score. And at this point, only some very intense AUDL pick'em competitors are worried about the final outcome. The Flyers adding a cosmetic look to the final score here. 28 seconds to go. It's a 5-score game, but make no mistake, the Roughnecks were incredibly impressive tonight. Dallas went up 2-0. They still have not trailed all season, the Roughnecks. Scoring first in each one of their first 4 games. Good look at former University of North Carolina cutter Tim McAllister. On a week where you saw 3 different divisions have teams clash at the top. We had Toronto win by 1 over DC for the 2nd straight week. The Madison Radicals are close to putting away the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds in the Midwest. As contact called on the mark with Gibson. Currently Madison 22-18, Pittsburgh perhaps with one final push. And here in Raleigh, the Roughnecks with their 24th goal of the game. Nothing compared to the 32 the Roughnecks scored last week, but 24 plenty to get the job done tonight here in North Carolina. And Gibson, so crafty. Won a national championship at the University of Florida, has won several championships in the club game, and of course an AUDL title winner 2 years ago as a member of the San Jose Spiders. Yes, that was Taylor Pope down on the sideline. He has jettisoned from the booth to prepare for the post-game conversation. Stealing a little bit more time on the camera in the final seconds. Taylor is gradually becoming quite the TV star. Thankfully, his ego is still in check, but perhaps by the next game, it could be out of control. Roughnecks looking long. Larberg smacks it down. And perhaps one or two more completions should do it. Raleigh Flyers really looked strong for stretches in the first half, but it was all Dallas domination after halftime, and the Flyers fall at home for the first time this season. The Roughnecks are the team that remains perfect in 2016. Your final score, Dallas 24, Raleigh 18. The pivotal stretch of the game was certainly the end of the second quarter and the start of the third. Raleigh scored to tie it up 7-7 with 9:28 to go in quarter number 2, and did not score again until Justin Allen made it 15-8 with 7:25 to go in the third. A 14-minute drought as the Flyers saw Dallas go on an 8-0 run. A long day for many members of the Flyers, especially those who are involved in regionals. And it's an always interesting dynamic when a guy like Mike Denardis, the head coach, will be going against one of his team leaders, Brian Casey, tomorrow morning in a college regional title game. And the Flyers fans certainly came out and did their job tonight, but too many mistakes from the home team. Too much firepower from this Dallas, Texas juggernaut. Right now, down on the field, Taylor Pope is with Dylan Freechild.
Thanks, Evan. I'm Taylor Pope. I'm down here with Dylan Freechild. Dallas Roughnecks just pulling off a 24-18 win. What were the keys to the game for the Dallas Roughnecks tonight?
I think we actually kind of wanted to force them deep. The scouting report was that they're a little volatile with those throws. We really wanted to force the forehand, and we took away the inside. I think it worked pretty well. They were reluctant to swing the disc back in, had a few early turnovers deep. It was close for a while, but I think that tiring them out, having two fresh D-lines back and forth, really gave us the edge when they're playing.
The D-line really came out in the second half and put up it was 7-7 with just a couple minutes left in the first half, and you guys went on an incredible run, I think stretching it to 7 points before the Flyers were able to put something in. You were involved in a lot of those points. What were you guys doing that stopped them so well?
I mean, what I just said, I think, and putting a lot of focus. I think that's the second game that we've come out a little flat. I don't think we're working hard enough in the pregame. We're coming out and trying to find a reason to be up. So that makes it difficult for us, and that's something we're going to need to work on, and it's quite frustrating. But I think once we got our legs under us and realized that our game plan was working and we were confident in it, that it started rolling.
Thanks, Dylan.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nice game. Now I'm here with Jimmy Mickle. Jimmy, heck of a game. Lots of goals, lots of great plays. Nice seal out at the end of that fourth quarter. How did you feel coming to and playing against Raleigh for the first time?
It was really fun. I mean, they have a great ultimate scene here. We did some clinics Thursday and Friday, got to meet some of the Flyers guys, and I think that's a cool part of the ultimate community is getting to play against people that you respect as people too. So I know a few of these guys from playing with them in the past, and it's always fun to compete against them. A bunch of good players. So.
It looked like it got a little chippy at times, but it almost seemed like there was a lot of camaraderie out there. How did this game differ from the Cannons game last week?
Yeah, I think the chippiness in this game was a little more trash talk and kind of banter back and forth, which is going to happen when you have a bunch of people that care about the game and are competitive. And I never thought across the line. I think in the Candidates game we had some more issues with what we considered bad bid and stuff like that, where we were worried about players getting injured, which I think is kind of a different line. But I thought tonight in general we did a good job of keeping it in control. So
one thing that I noticed was that your spacing in your spread offense was really good. And it also looked like you guys were fronting the Flyers, almost daring them to throw it deep. Was that the game plan?
I think that's just part of our strategy in general. We have a lot of belief in the athletes and the players we have on this team. And on this field, it's really hard to stop teams from throwing a bunch of underpasses, right? There's so much space out there. So trying to make them hit those pinpoint hucks without us having a chance is kind of always what we're looking to do.
Thanks, Jimmy. Great game and safe travels back to Dallas.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Taylor, Jimmy, thanks so much. Certainly a very impressive performance tonight from the Dallas Roughnecks. Not a double-digit win, but still a comfortable victory as Raleigh wins it by the final score of 24-18. And that wraps up our April schedule on ESPN3. Dallas certainly has cemented itself as the team to beat in the South with a win here in Raleigh tonight. They are the only remaining undefeated team in the Southern Division. And you look at what San Francisco has done with a 5-0 start out west. The FlameThrowers are off this weekend, but Dallas in the South, like many expected them to be, right at the top of the pack. Thanks so much for joining us tonight here in Raleigh. A thrill as always to bring you the nation's best ultimate on ESPN3. We're back with you 2 weeks from now. In fact, it's 13 days away as the Madison Radicals will host the Chicago Wildfire from Breese Stevens Field in Madison, Wisconsin. That's Friday the 13th next month. But for tonight, the Roughnecks are victorious, and they're perfect in the South Division. For Taylor Pope, this is Evan Lepler. 24-18, the Roughnecks are going to be a tough team to beat 2016.